It must be creepy.
Hello again, this is Robert Veach from Vparanormal. This video is going to show the investigation we just completed, the part 1 of a restaurant called the Roadhouse in Oregon, Illinois. Interesting place. This is an interesting investigation. It has a combination of different types of evidence. We have some visual evidence and pictures, some really unique EVPs. We co-investigated with Whispers in the Dark team at this location, and they worked with us and gave us a lot of good evidence, and I'm going to show that evidence in this video. This case is interesting again because it's a cold case file of 2 murders back from 1948, so it's 69 years old cold case, and the owner of the restaurant, Mike of the Roadhouse, has done a lot of effort to try and solve this case and present information to local police and FBI. So it's still an open, ongoing investigation. Murder cases don't have a time limit on them. So the first thing I'm going to show you is some of the visual evidence, the pictures that we captured. So there's a picture I'm going to show you that was taken by Cheryl, and it appears to have a face of a female on one of the doors, and you clearly see a face, and it's not pixelization, it's not your brain fooling you. It seems like it's really a face there. So we're going to present that evidence. Then Cheryl contacted me. She went back to the restaurant and she debunked that. So she has a picture where she was able to capture that again.
The picture was very exciting to both of us. As we were looking at it, you could see clearly the face of a woman screaming, which made sense for the case that we were on. Denise is a photographer. She looked at it, said that, there's clearly something there. It's not light play. However, on further investigation, just to make sure that we covered all of our bases, I drove back to Oregon, connected with Mike again. He let me come in and take some additional pictures. And after I literally took 22 pictures when I went back out, counted them. Found one that at just the right angle with the light hitting the paint on the door at just a specific angle, we could recreate that. So we did end up throwing that picture out. Hate to say it, debunked.
The next picture I'm going to show, a pre-shot picture that Cheryl took, which has no orb or any activity in the picture. I'm then going to show a picture that was followed up, and you'll see this unique round orb in the hallway there. And the hallway is where they get a lot of activity. And what makes it unique is the flash is on a low setting, and it's like 35 feet away, and this orb has its own light energy and its own color. While Shara took the debunked picture, if you look closely in that picture, she captured another orb, so I'm going to show you that orb right now. Another interesting picture I'm going to show is one that Cheryl took outside the establishment in a window, and I've got a zoomed in shot of that. And there's a before and after picture. The before picture doesn't show anything unusual. The after picture, if you look at it closely, you see what looks like a man wearing a hat. Could be a sheriff's hat, could be just any type of hat. To me, it looks like a sheriff hat, and it looks very interesting to me. The last picture I'm going to show is a picture that Cheryl took when she went back with Denise and her daughter to the cemetery where Mary is buried. And it's a wide shot that they took, but I'm going to show you the wide shot first. And then I'm going to go close up on the left side of that picture, and you see two tombstones, a larger one and a smaller one. Behind the smaller tombstone, you see what looks like an image of a child or a woman with a veil on. And you can see that everything is pretty clear. There's no movement to cause what we're seeing right there. Vparanormal on this investigation brought one of its latest research devices, the Paraselfie, which is right to my left right here. And this is version 2.0. It's got a little bit of improvements on there. And we put it in the hallway, the same place that we saw those two orbs. There's a series of questions we did. I'm just going to demonstrate and show the one question that I was asking about Mary. And I'm going to show the Paraselfie view as well as what was going on with the full spectrum camera at that point. I have a question. So we were talking about Mary Jane Reed, kind of like she's you're a model, and I've seen pictures of you. You're an attractive woman, We have that device in the other room right there in the hall where people have seen people walking. Maybe you're one of the persons walking there. Don't be afraid of that device. Go in front of it right now because my batteries are getting low on everything there. Just try and go near any of those devices there and see what you look like on the screen. And you know, you're a beautiful woman. Maybe you could show us what you look like in the afterlife. Or maybe you can give us information about your life or your death. But now's your opportunity before the battery runs down. Go over there and interact with that and let us see what you look like. I really appreciate it, Mary, if you could do that.
Mary or Willard or Evelyn or
anybody that might be here, right?
Somebody passing through.
I want to point out that we didn't capture anything with the paraselfie, and I feel it needs to be put in the basement in total darkness because it has its own lighting system, its own strobe system. So when we go back, we're going to put it in total darkness, hopefully in the basement, and see what we capture then.
Clifford, are you here with us right now? Can you tell us who came into the room just now?
What?
Batman. I thought I heard Mike.
I heard Mike too.
I thought I heard it twice.
I heard
too.
Batman
twice
and then
I
I
heard
heard Mike. Do you like Mike?
No.
No.
That was a quick
I
no.
didn't hear no. Who scratched me on the back of my neck?
Yeah. Just had breathe. 5 years.
Who killed Mary Jane?
Chief.
Chief.
That came through so clear.
Mm-hmm.
So while we were in the basement, when Denise was in that room and she had sensed something and she kind of came out of the room quickly, Cheryl sensed and saw something too. So I want you to define what happened there.
Okay, well, I'm going to say what Denise had relayed to me first. On the video recording, you'll see us talking, you'll see, you know, what both of our responses were, but we had been watching a shadow crawl across the ceiling and then down across the wall. We were both picking up on that. As it came across the wall at her, she still saw the shadow thing and it jumped out at her and scared her because she's never, well, it didn't really scare her, but it startled her. Because she's never had anything jump at her like that. As far as like shadow people kind of tend to stay away and to themselves. So that startled her when that just jumped in her face. And what I happened to see though from the same experience was, to me, it looked like the sheriff that had committed the murders, but he was jumping out and throwing a punch at her. So you hear her, you know, saying, an expletive, and then me saying, you know, it's not nice to hit women. And she said, no, that wasn't what I saw. And I, you know, so then we're talking about that a little bit, but
We have a digital recorder going,
That's
right,
what's
down
on
here?
that.
Do you have one?
Yeah, it's back here.
there's one in
Oh.
that room and there's one in this room.
Good. Were they synced? Yeah, they were synced,
Yes,
right?
they
Good.
were
Yes. I'm gonna go
Okay,
this way.
let's go this way.
Just because.
All right.
Took this stuff out with Sorry.
Not nice to throw punches at women.
No, it's not.
So right after I filmed and recorded in that little room right there, Denise wanted to go back into the area, and Cheryl was setting up a Echovox session during that time, and her camcorder battery just died. And it's a new battery, new camcorder, and it's a high capacity battery too. Should have lasted about 5 hours.
At that point, it had lasted 2.5.
2.5 hours, right,
So.
on the timeline on there. So that was unusual. And Denise went back there and we were recording, and then Cheryl sensed that we need to get out of the area, and then we essentially left the basement. So why don't you describe what you felt there?
Honestly, I didn't actually feel anything. I was getting messages from my guides. As we were standing there, I was messing with the thing, the camcorder battery. I was messing with Echo Box, trying to get everything set up so I could come back over and join the rest of the team in the basement. And my guides very clearly said, nope, you need to get out right now. There's no questions about it. You need to leave. And I have done paranormal investigations for about 10 years now. I've been a psychic medium my whole life. I don't generally, even at the time I wasn't scared by anything. I wasn't freaked out. I was just, you know what, we've got to go right now. Let's pack everybody up and go. Nobody else is coming down in the basement. We're leaving. And I've always said that if my team was ever going to be in any type of danger, I wasn't going to let that happen. And my guides were setting off warning bells saying you have to go right now. So first time in 10 years that's ever happened. I've never had to pull anybody from an investigation or the whole group even. And that's what happened this time, is that we had to leave.
And so we did leave. We got out of there. We
went upstairs, packed up.
Pretty much we're done with the investigation at that point. So yeah, it's interesting.
Show yourself. Step into the camera. Okay, that's someone else's shadow behind us.
That's the light. We give me some light.
He's trying to give us more light. Left corner.
Floor. Yeah. Why are you here?
Maybe you should go in there with my camera instead of me holding it. You know, that way you're holding it. I'll be right here.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't worry. I'm not going any further, Cheryl. I'm all right. Show yourself.
Did you just
And yes, I heard it too.
Somebody's walking.
Yes. Okay, we're out now. I'm serious, we're out now. We are out. My guides just said, get the fuck out. We are out. And they are not coming downstairs. So let's grab the other recorder.
We didn't do that room yet.
I don't care. We're out. Yeah, are you the one that sucker punched me in the ribs?
Don't move. Yeah, can you turn the flashlight back on? Yes, you. I got chills.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I do a lot of analysis of EVPs and filtration of background noise, and I have a verification algorithm I use. So the ones that are presented here are the ones that are real EVPs that we cannot explain that were not in the environment. And we're going to have an example at the end, which is going to be a Class A set of 3 EVPs, probably the best EVPs that we've ever gathered on an investigation.
I don't even know what to say right now. I've never had anything like that happen to me. I mean, I know I'll be alright at some point. I jumped back and I went back in. I jumped back and I went back in. I felt a stabbing in my side. And Cheryl walked away for a minute and my whole body, I couldn't move.
So on this next segment that we're going to show you, Robert, Denise, and I were in the basement of the Roadhouse, and there's two different areas in the basement. There's an area that has stairs that go to nowhere, and there's an area that the old slaughter room was. We had recorders in both rooms that were set there at the beginning of the night. And Denise and I had felt like we needed to go into the room that had the stairs to nowhere. We both kept sensing who we believe was the sheriff in there. And so as we got there, both of us saw movement in the room. Both of us had experiences, and we pulled back to discuss what was going on. This had happened several times. There was some back and forth going on. The last time that it happened, we'd pulled back to discuss something that had happened to Denise. She felt like she couldn't move as this was going on, and I had grabbed her and pulled her out of the room, and Robert had said he was going to go up and see if he could see anything or feel anything. So Robert, go ahead and tell about that.
So I took my full spectrum camera, which is recording Cheryl and Denise in that room, and I didn't sense anything, but I wanted to just go in there with the camera of the full spectrum. And I kind of video recorded it, and I kind of challenged what was there to say something or touch me. And I'm going to show you a clip of that. There is an EVP that occurred during that sequence. I'm going to show you that right now. Do something, move something, talk to me.
Literally is all the
funny thing is, can I tell you something?
Can I move further in? So there's something interesting that happened during the recording of the section that I just showed you with Cheryl and me in my basement studio. So here I'm in the studio right here where I've got the green screen. I was transferring the footage and listening to the audio, and right away I detected something that was unusual. That wasn't in the room, wasn't audio that we heard. So there's an EVP that's on the digital recorder that I'm recording right now. And I just want to point out that I've used this studio and that camera for 400 reviews of products, 150 other videos, and about 40 Vparanormal videos. And in all those videos, I've never heard anything of an EVP ever come through that camera. So either something was in this basement that followed us from this investigation, or it's something that was attached to Cheryl. We don't know. When you listen to the EVP, both Cheryl and I think it's saying, "I'm so proud." And Cheryl thinks that sounds like her grandmother's voice. So this is very interesting. Never happened before in this Vparanormal studio. To leave the area.
Okay.
It's okay. So you can start on this part. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And Cheryl is very meticulous about time-stamping everything and telling people if they talk or they cough or they bump a table. She'll say Robert for audio, Cheryl for audio. And that EVP, the one we're going to show you with the 3 EVPs, you notice that Cheryl doesn't react and I don't react, and the other investigator, what was her name?
Julie.
Julie doesn't react either. And if that was me, the only male in the room, saying, "Don't you touch me because I'm scared," you would see Cheryl say, "Robert for audio," and you always want to be touched. Why are you saying that? So,
right, I would have laughed at him.
We didn't react because it wasn't in the environment. It's definitely on the digital recorder and the camcorder, which is really unique.
Yeah, it's not a good thing to go by yourself. Her dowsing rods are really long. They were this long. I'm not kidding you. They were that long, her dowsing rods. They were awesome. Here, we'll look later. Yeah. Okay. I actually played a video for you. The video is cool. I told him that. There's a mean man in that basement.
Not touched.
Who does not like women, or
Yeah, they don't like women.
Not touched.
he does not. He wants to control women. He doesn't want. He wants to use and abuse women.
Grabbed her ankle and yanked her under the water.
Yeah, it's not a good thing to do by yourself. Her dowsing rods are really long. They were this long. I'm not kidding you. They were that long, her dowsing rods. They were awesome. Here, we'll look later. Okay.
Everything touched.
We went back to Oregon, Illinois, Denise and my daughter and I, all part of Whispers in the Dark Paranormal. Denise and I were at the gravesite with Echovox. My daughter was in the car. Before we separated, we time-stamped the recorders so we could sync them up. My daughter went with one recorder to the car, was asking questions, while Denise and I, who could not hear her from the gravesite, were listening over Echovox. Jordan asked at 57 seconds if Mary Jane Reed had anything she wanted to say to me. 7 seconds later, on my recorder, you hear, "Be afraid."
Mary Jane, are you here? Do you have anything that you want to say to my mother?
So that's very significant to the case because I'm sure she was very terrified. We then headed over and did the debunking session at the Roadhouse, and then from there we went to Lover's Lane. While at Lover's Lane, we had Echovox going, got a crazy amount of responses that made sense for the case and the location that we were at. 10 of that was dealing with a car issue. Why is the car issue important? Halfway through the recording, actually not even halfway, 5 minutes before we were going to leave, Denise starts her car. She then turns it back off because she felt like there was more that she needed to ask and to say. You hear the car start in the audio, you hear it turn off. We have nothing running off of the car battery. But what happened was 5 minutes later, we tried to start the car, it would not start. The battery was completely dead. The other interesting thing is that while the car was dead and we were trying to figure out how we were going to leave, we're on a dirt gravel road outside of town and it's quite the walk back. So we're trying to figure out, not being from there, what we're going to do, and got an EVP of a woman screaming. And then you hear car noise and then you hear somebody say, "Mary." So that was very, very interesting.
So I'm going to play that section of EVPs that Cheryl was talking about when they were outside in that remote area in Oregon, Illinois. The first part, you're going to hear shuffling, and this is them moving around in the car. You'll hear Cheryl's voice over here. But right in the beginning, you're going to hear this unusual scream sound. And if this was a sound that in the environment they would have reacted, and if it was a sound outside, they would have reacted also. So, and right here, there is a milder, weaker EVP, and I think it's saying, "We're here." Final EVP right here, Cheryl thinks it's saying, "Mary," and it could be Mary. I hear that. I hear the words, "Hear us." So all three of these EVPs are pertinent to this investigation and very interesting. So we're going to be going back to the Roadhouse pretty soon to further our investigation of that location, because based on the evidence so far, there's definitely a mystery going on right there, and maybe we can get some more EVPs and some more communications in the restaurant or the Lover's Lane area or the cemetery.